Hello, everyone. My name is Dan Willis. I'm going to present a little slideshow on the topic of Psyops. We're going to go over 9 Psyops, and here we go. Psyops, what's a Psyop? It's a psychological operation that basically gains the perception of individuals normally to work toward a hidden agenda. A little bit on my background. I was a top secret military witness that testified in Washington, D.C., along with 21 witnesses regarding illegal secret government operations and the extraterrestrial presence. Psyop topic number 1. We won the war of World War II against the Nazis. In 1933, the Draco of the Sakar Empire violated the Prime Directive, gave the Nazi SS advanced technology, allowing them to advance highly. So by 1934, the Nazis had achieved anti-gravity flight. The Nazis had a fallback plan. Retrieved documents show that they planned to infiltrate in and create a matrix of perception. They called this plan Weltanschauungskrieg, which translates to worldview warfare. They planned to create this matrix of perception to hide their secret operations. 1945, Allen Dulles, who's instrumental in the Nazi infiltration, cuts a deal with Major General Reinhard Gehlen, head of Nazi intelligence, to bring in thousands of Nazi spies into the OSS, which turned into today's CIA. Operation Paperclip. Allen Dulles ordered the Nazi dossiers to be cleared of all Nazi references, bringing many Nazis into our country that were once classified as a menace to the security of the United States. The history is rewritten, working in alliance with the Rockefeller Foundation for future generations studying history that would not be aware of the Nazi escape and infiltration. 1947, under Project Paperclip, Xavier Dorsch was brought in, their top underground base expert, to start tunneling in the New Mexico area and creating a network of deep underground military bases. 1947, James Forrestal sends down Admiral Byrd with an entire military armada to defeat the Nazi base in Antarctica in Operation High Jump. With the Nazis' advanced anti-gravitic craft and directed energy weapons, they completely defeated Admiral Byrd's armada. 1947, the famous Roswell crash, was actually a Trojan horse from the Nibu, from the Orion Greys, to prepare for the invasion by enticing our government with technology for a future exchange. 2 months later, all on the same day, the CIA, the U.S. Air Force, and the new Majestic 12 group in control of the extraterrestrial issue is created. James Forrestal, wanting to disclose this to the public of the Nazi and extraterrestrial situation, is murdered, thrown out of the hospital window. In the MJ-12 document, it was quoted, "The untimely death of Secretary Forrestal was deemed necessary and regrettable." In 1952, with their advanced craft, they fly over the Capitol building to intimidate both the Truman and Eisenhower administrations. The CIA forms a Robinson panel to deny to the public the extraterrestrial reality. 1954, President Eisenhower has a meeting with the Galactic Federation of Worlds, and according to witnesses, he had planned on public disclosure in May that year on both radio and television. Instead, MJ-12 circumvents Eisenhower and signs a treaty with the Orion Greys in order to gain some technology in exchange for abducting millions of our citizens for their hybrid program. President Eisenhower, he lost control to the Nazi Draco alliance in 1955. From this point forward, our legal constitutional government is being denied access. 1961, he attempted to warn the public on television in his farewell address regarding the misplaced powers and warranted influences in the military-industrial complex that had been infiltrated by the Fourth Reich, and to take nothing for granted that only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry could protect our future liberties. Psyop topic number 2. Adolf Hitler died in the bunker, and Heinrich Himmler committed suicide. The JFK files that were released in 2017 after a 25-year secrecy order put in place by George H.W. Bush shows that Hitler was alive and well in 1955 in South America, and Himmler's double, who took the cyanide cap, did not have the dueling scar on his left cheek. They both escaped. Psyop topic number 3. We need rockets to overcome gravity and go into space. Fellow witness Mark McCandish testified that we have anti-gravity alien reproduction vehicles that were built back in the 1950s that can go faster than the speed of light. Dr. Stephen Greer, testifying at the Citizen hearing in 2013, stated that by October 1954, we had achieved anti-gravity and that we have not needed rockets, jets, internal combustion engines, surface roadways between cities, since that time. 1954, Walt Disney, 33rd degree Freemason, and Werner von Braun used television to sell the public that the use of rocket propulsion is the future for space travel in overcoming Earth's gravity, where Werner von Braun knew otherwise. 1958, NASA is created and run by a former Nazi SS officer, Dr. Kurt DeBus, to keep us believing we need rockets to overcome gravity, where they knew well that they had figured out the torsion physics going back to the 1930s, that we don't need rockets. And publicly, Dr. Hermann Oberth, Dr. Werner von Braun's mentor, stated, "We cannot take credit for the record advancement in certain scientific fields alone. We have been helped." When he was asked by whom, he replied, "The people of other worlds." Psyop topic number 4. We need to use gasoline, nuclear, and coal for power as there is no real alternative available. 1952, the Invention Secrecy Act has suppressed over 6,000 free energy, anti-gravity, medical, and many other inventions. After the congressional hearing was denied from the 2001 event, I volunteered. Dr. Greer set up a corporation to identify scientists. We had the scientists within the unacknowledged special access programs that could prove we have zero-point energy that were denied by the Bush administration. So for the next 10 years, I traveled the planet meeting with a number of these scientists and inventors and their technology. The Patent Office has a secret system called Sensitive Application Warning System. Anybody has, such as anti-gravity devices, free energy, and a list of others, will automatically get issued what's called a national security order, which states that your invention has been deemed to be a detriment to the national security of the United States. Therefore, you cannot share it with anyone. Psyop topic number 5. A lone gunman, Lee Harvey Oswald, assassinated John F. Kennedy. Recovered MJ-12 documents revealed that MJ-1 Allen Dulles had set up an assassination directive to be used against John F. Kennedy. 10 days before Kennedy's assassinated, Kennedy sends a top-secret memo to the CIA to release the UFO files. That top-secret memo triggered the assassination directive that was given to James Jesus Angleton, the CIA's chief of counterintelligence, to carry out the directive. The Warren Commission afterward was headed by Allen Dulles, which determined that there was no conspiracy. Interestingly, the Warren Commission members were all 33rd degree Freemasons. In 1967, a CIA secret dispatch labels conspiracy theorists anyone who attempts to challenge the official narrative of the Warren Report. Psyop topic number 6. In 1969, we went to the moon I just got some rocks and came back as seen on television. Fellow witness Sergeant Carl Wolf at the National Press Club. Before we went to the moon, the lunar orbiter revealed the alien base. He says, quote, "We discovered a base on the backside of the moon. He then proceeded to put photographs down in front of me, and clearly in these photographs there were structures, mushroom-shaped buildings, spherical buildings, and towers. I remember going home and naively thinking, I can't wait to hear about this on the evening news. And here it is, more than 30 years later, and this was 2001, and I hope to hear about it tonight, and I will testify under oath before Congress that what I am saying is the truth." Donna Hare, 20-year NASA employee, stating the astronauts are sworn to secrecy, that they were not allowed to talk about what happened. William Tompkins, who actually witnessed at the TRW facility that was seeing the live, uncensored video feed directly from the moon. With his photographic memory, he was able to sketch the enormous alien craft that were lined up along the far side of the crater that warned us off the moon. Ham radio operators bypassed NASA's censorship. Myself being a ham radio operator since 1964, a fellow ham radio operator who actually was at a military affiliate station was receiving the lunar transmission directly and verified that he did hear the following. The radio transmission received on Earth was NASA, "What's there? Mission Control calling Apollo 11. Apollo 11. These babies are huge, sir, enormous. Oh my God, you wouldn't believe it. I'm telling you, there's other spacecraft out there lined up on the far side of the crater edge. They're on the moon watching us." Neil Armstrong, in his speech in 1994, cryptically hints at removing truth's protective layers, saying there's great ideas undiscovered, breakthroughs available to those who can remove one of truth's protective layers. And he knew exactly what he meant by that. Psyop number 7. The mainstream media, the news you can trust. How could our media and information systems be allowed to be infiltrated by an enemy and we not know about it? Through generational indoctrination spanning many decades, children have grown up watching television, and most have innocently assumed the television networks would not have any reason to deceive you, and so have accepted the information as being reliable, based on the assumption that numerous broadcast journalists are researching and vetting the information to be accurate. Looking back at history, back in 1917, Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan, and Warburg, they purchased the main 25 newspapers and put their own editors in and gave them the information in order to control the perception of the information to the public. 1921, the Council of Foreign Relations is created, who sets the narrative for the media. 1950, Alan Dulles starts Operation Mockingbird, where the CIA is paying 400 media journalists to form the public's perceptions. 1954, former Nazi SS officer Prince Bernhard sets up the yearly secret Bilderberg meetings. The Bilderberg meetings, along with the Council of Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission, control the top executive positions of the mainstream media. In 1983, the CIA has secret meetings of the heads of mainstream media and the CIA in Sun Valley, Idaho, and they started media consolidation. By 2011, they consolidated the control from 50 to only 6 media corporations to centrally control the narrative. Brzezinski, co-founder of the Trilateral Commission, this is the attitude they have. Shortly, the public will be unable to reason or think for themselves. They will only be able to parrot the information they've been given on the previous night's news. You have to think the newscasters are actually reading the script on the teleprompter they've been given. Billions of dollars go into psychological think tanks in order to form the public's perceptions and gain their consent toward the agenda of the narrative. The mainstream media has such a powerful influence in its image-making ability. It can make a criminal look innocent and make the innocent look like a criminal. In 2001, I had a firsthand experience with this, as each of us stating we're willing to testify under oath regarding these illegal secret government operations and the extraterrestrial presence. The mainstream media did what's called limited hangout, which is a psychological operation that reveals part of the information, but does not disclose the key information, such as the illegal government operations and the extraterrestrial presence. And so they made it sound like we wanted to have a congressional hearing simply on the reality of UFOs. CBS did an interview with me. I said, I'm not doing this unless I can say we have scientists that can prove we have zero-point energy. Afterwards, she said, I'm sorry, the higher executives made me cut that part out. Dr. Joseph Goebbels once said, propaganda becomes ineffective the moment we become aware of it. Psyop topic number 8. The medical system and the doctor's Hippocratic oath to do no harm. In the early 1900s, the Rockefeller pharmaceutical cartel, the 1911, the Supreme Court finds the Rockefeller Foundation guilty of corruption and racketeering. By 1913, under the cover of philanthropy, they used illegal gains in order to take over the healthcare in the U.S. with their pharmaceutical investment business of patented drugs. 1918, using the Spanish flu epidemic with their control of the media, started a witch hunt against all forms of natural medicine that are not patentable drugs. All medical schools and most hospitals and the American Medical Association came under the control of the Rockefeller medical monopoly. By 1925, in Germany, I.G. Farben is created, who becomes Hitler's largest financial backer. I have this in my DNA. My great-grandfather was going up against Rockefeller in the early 1900s as the president of the Homeopathic Medical Society using natural methods. 1946, the Nuremberg trials of the Nazi doctors. The Nuremberg trials of Nazi Germany, which established the international law of informed consent, produced a number of pharmaceutical corporations that are in operation today, from the German chemical cartel IG Farben, who was Hitler's largest financial backer. The 13 pharmaceutical corporations that are big pharma today, you know the names. In 1946, the formation of the CDC was brought about with 1,600 former Nazi scientists and doctors, including men responsible for murder, slavery, human experimentation, eugenics, and men who never stood trial. The CDC is formed this year with many of these former Nazis. Some of the effects and influence today of the Rockefeller pharmaceutical cartel on our medical system. The pharmaceutical corporations influence the textbook of the medical doctor's education. Doctors in medical school receive absolute minimal nutritional training. Studies find that medical mistakes and errors in hospitals are the third leading cause of death after heart disease and cancer. The pharmaceutical corporations influence the mainstream media, social media, and search engines in support of their drug sales. Dr. Max Gerson, the nutritionist who was murdered and who cured my mother of cancer. My mother had level 4 cancer, which only radiation, surgery, or pharmaceuticals are legal in the U.S. Her doctor said if I take her to this therapy that she would surely die. Regardless, I took her there. 2 months later, the same doctor examined, could not find a trace of cancer in her body, and my mother lived into her 90s. Dr. Max Gerson was strychnine poisoned after he published his book, A Cure for Cancer. Dr. Raymond Dr. Royal Raymond Rife, the scientist who discovered how to cure cancer with frequency oscillations. In 1934, Dr. Rife, before a special medical research committee, was able to cure 16 terminally ill cancer patients. The organizer for this event, just hours before he was able to announce the amazing results, was fatally poisoned, and his papers were lost. Planet Earth. Our planet has a current population of over 8.1 billion people. Average Earth human lifespan is only around 77 years. Advanced human-like extraterrestrial races across the galaxy are said to have an average lifespan in hundreds or even thousands of years. Why not here on Earth? Psyop topic number 9. There are no secret space programs with advanced medical technology. That's only science fiction. We've only gone to the moon. The 2001 disclosure event inspired a computer hacker, Gary McKinnon, who revealed the U.S. Navy Solar Warden secret space program in the computer systems. The Galactic Federation of Worlds worked with the U.S. Navy since the 1940s to help develop this Solar Warden program. And in 1967, they were able to seed the collective mind on Earth with advanced concepts like teleportation, warp drive, wormholes, and the Prime Directive. The Galactic Federation of Worlds, working with the U.S. Naval Intelligence and Gene Roddenberry, led to the creation of Star Trek. Gratefully, in 2021, our solar system was liberated, with the Galactic Federation of Worlds working together with the Earth Alliance have removed the Nibu Greys, the Draco, the Sakaar Empire, and the Nachtwaffen or Dark Fleet Nazis from our solar system. The Solar Warden 20 and Back program uses this advanced holographic medical technology to age and time reverse people in a 20-year tour of duty enlistment in space. The medical holographic science of the medbeds. The medbed holographic technology is based on the fact that the universe is holographic and that it can be tuned through the vector of time. An individual's holographic field contains within it this time vector, which can be attuned to an earlier point in time when the body was more optimal. Then this pattern can be projected onto the body, causing the body to morph into this more optimal pattern. In the 1980s, I worked with IBM's head scientist, Dr. Marcel Vogel, on a holographic medical, actually it wasn't medical, it was a holographic camera that was patented by the European Patent Office in Paris, France in 1955. Thousands of photos were made with this device, which was primitive in comparison to the advanced secret space program technology, medbeds. But it substantiated the fact that we're able to tune backwards and forwards in the time with images with this primitive device. My dear friend Jean-Charles Moyen, one of the secret space program super soldiers on the Solaris, was treated on a medbed after an attack by a black Draco on Mars, completely restoring his body that was almost severed in half. My other friend, Tony Rodriguez, a Nachtwaffen cargo engineer, where his arm was completely severed and his foot, and both were restored after an insectoid attack on Mars with this advanced technology. Abducted by Nibu Greys for their hybrid program at age 9, causing severe complications that were corrected on a medbed, my dear friend Elena Danan. She was rescued by the Galactic Federation of Worlds. The Nibu implant that was repurposed to be a quantum communication device was retuned to communicate with her. With this communication channel, Elena has graciously accepted the task of being the emissary for the Galactic Federation of Worlds. There's a lot of different voices today claiming inside knowledge of what's happening in our solar system and beyond. In my research, only Elena Danan has ongoing history revealing information that no one without direct knowledge could possibly know. Then, later, that information becomes public knowledge and verified, thus continuing to establish her credibility. The following three examples of many show scientifically verifiable evidence validated by space agencies on Earth before they had knowledge of these events, showing that Elena Danaan is receiving credible, accurate information. First, 2 years before NASA was able to verify this, Elena identified three planets in Proxima Centauri. Then Thorhan says, watch for activity on Neptune to be revealed. And 2 weeks later, NASA substantiated as temperatures started to rise dramatically. Thorhan reports a severe quake on Mars. 1 week later, NASA reports the largest quake ever detected in our solar system on Mars. Information that you just cannot make up. I've been in contact through Elena with Thorhan's younger brother, who is a terraforming scientist, Jen Hanaredion. I've been honored to bring forth technology from their world. Last year in October, we presented for the first time a crystal frill generator that was the technology that they use on their world that has been brought as a gift to our world. I'm sure many more gifts from these advanced civilizations will follow. It's time for no more lies and deception. It's time for the truth and the liberation of our planet. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this session on 9 Psyops.